that frees the psyche of the protagonists from the unconscious influences of liberalism and equality is one that has been answered in the form of the mass of heresy. Whilst this mass negates equality, it upholds and positively identifies with the positive aspects of National Socialism. Thus the individual pronounces that he/she believes in the inequality of races and the divine status of Adolf Hitler, who is perceived as being godlike, a savior of the Aryan race. The Holocaust is denied, and the swastika and Mein Kampf are focal points for the ritual, Mein Kampf replacing the Black Book of Satan, which is used in the Black Mass and other traditional forms of satanic ritual. To many individuals such a ritual appears to be pointless and unnecessary. The Holocaust is proven, and therefore such a ritual seeks to deny the truth. Yet such reasoning only strengthens the Satanists' case. Nazi Germany has become a scapegoat for the projection of the Jungian shadow. 10. According to some Satanists, quote, in the case of the defense, even Simon Wiesenthal has openly defended the view that not all camp guards were brutal and cruel sadists, rather only 10%, a fraction of what many would have one believe. The key then to the use of rites such as the Mass of Heresy is to free the psyche from prejudice. In relation to this, a member of the Order of Nine Engels says individuals who participate in genuine satanic masses sometimes experience a kind of satori, or sudden enlightenment, and are thus led to an increase in their consciousness as well as an enhanced vitality, because they have broken free of constraining opposites. 11. Yet probably the best example to show the blasphemous nature of the Mass of Heresy is that in some countries individuals who perform it may be liable to prosecution and imprisonment. Ritualized sexual magic. If sex magic is the most popular subject within occultism, this merely proves that it is also the most misunderstood. 12. This introduction to the subject of ritualized sexual magic by the Society of Dark Lily indicates how some Satanists view sex. This view is also true of the Order of Nine Engels, who place sexual magic in a rational position amongst other forms of ritual magic. From these examples alone, the true use of sex cannot simply be reduced to the uncontrolled indulgence of the Satanist. To the Satanist, sex is a powerful force, a force that is to be respected, not misused. After all, it is through sex that a being is born, and this by itself indicates the vast amount of power that sex beholds to the Satanist. Sexuality in Satanism then is not simply reducible to sadomasochism, rape, child abuse or sexual torture. Such observations reflect a psychological problem within the opposers of Satanism rather than the Satanists themselves. For the Satanists say that it is the Christian religion that has disrespected the most important act of the animal kingdom by reducing it to a sinful act. In Satanism a number of different approaches to sex are taken, and whilst groups such as the Order of Nine Engels include numerous sexual elements in their rituals, including orgies, other groups such as the Society of Dark Lily view sex as an important aspect of self-knowledge. From this perspective, the Satanist should understand and accept his or her sexuality, an understanding which requires a complete comprehension of one's attitude and behavior in relation to one's right sexuality. 13. By experimenting with one's own sexuality, one should eventually find the mode of sexual expression that he or she is best suited to, and it is only by such sexual experimentation that this can be found. An anonymous article in the Society's journal Dark Lily entitled Sex and the Occult, Dark Lily 10, refers to the practical use of sex in the context of accessing the participant's subconscious mind. The author of this article goes on to say that by performing a sexual ritual, the participants are able to access their own subconscious mind far quicker than is possible in other circumstances such as prolonged meditation. Such methods of sexual magic, when performed under a ritualistic setting, provide the participants with a focus for the conscious mind, which then enables the more advanced of the two participants to raise the level of contact to the psychological rather than the purely physical. Under such methods, the work of many weeks can be compressed into days or hours. 14. The transference from the physical to the psychological is a method whereby the energy raised may be directed within the psyche and used to balance and cleanse the individual psychologically, where the destruction of specific aspects of the individual psyche are necessary for further development to be made. The use of sex is considered then, not to be, as the Order of Nine Engels perceive it, drawing forth energy, but rather in the speed that the changes in consciousness are made and in the creation of balance and the restoration of health. Even though both the Society of Dark Lily and the Order of Nine Angles differ in their conceptual approach to ritualistic sexual magic, the Order of Nine Angles Rite of Nine Angles provides a prime example of a method of ritualistic sexual magic. The sexual nature of the rite may be performed in two ways. Firstly, a priest and priestess perform the ritual naked upon an isolated hilltop. The rite itself involves the use of the sound magic technique known as vibration, which involves the priest projecting, in syllables, the following words of power: Nithrak Funi Edazeth. Thus the syllable Ni is sounded for a period of between 10 and 20 seconds, then Thra is sounded for the same period of time, and so on. Such methods of sound magic enable the participants to activate hitherto unknown areas of their minds and cause changes in consciousness, as though inducing a semi-trance-like state. The priest therefore vibrates these words in the direction of the priestess, who holds a quartz crystal tetrahedron in her palms. After this vibration has been completed, the priestess lies on the ground, still holding the crystal, whilst the priest performs cunnilingus. When the priestess is suitably aroused, the priest then begins copulation, during which the priestess visualizes a gateway situated in the stars above them opening and a black nebulous chaos flowing downwards to the earth. The second form of the Rite of Nine Angles, known as the chthonic form, is performed with the addition of a congregation who hold an orgy after the rite, whilst the priest and priestess vibrate specific words of power and trained cantors chant a particularly difficult and elaborate sinister chant. The energy from the orgy is used to enhance the presencing of the dark gods, who are then said to manifest. The changes of consciousness that may occur through such a rite can be equated on one level with the creation of the Antichrist, that is, the Satanist who absorbs the power brought forth through the ritual becomes akin to the Antichrist, an individual who embodies the Black Mass. The most infamous satanic ritual is the rite known as the Black Massachusetts. The development of the Black Mass is not, as some authors have understood it, a recent development, but one that has occurred over a period of 1,200 years, and its origin, far from lying in an established satanic tradition, lies within the rituals and ceremonies of the early Christian Church. The Mass of the Dead is considered by some, 6, to be the originator of the Black Mass, and, although considerably different from the modern versions of the Black Mass, its sole function was to procure the death of a person. This variation of the early Christian Mass was performed by a Christian priest accompanied by a female server, with whom he had copulated prior to the ritual. The Mass took place in a disused church. Water from a well in which an unbaptized child had drowned replaced wine, and a black triangular host was duly consecrated. The progression from the Mass of the Dead into the modern Black Mass took a new turn, when it was linked to the medieval witches' Sabbath. Accordingly, the inclusion of a horned figure who presided over the ceremony and who came to be associated with the Hebraic scapegoat came to be one of the central aspects of the Black Massachusetts. The orgy was also then included, something that was most likely derived from the rites of the Bacchanalia or Dionysiac cults of ancient Rome and Greece, of which shall be spoken presently. In his book The Black Arts, Fan Books Limited 1967, Richard Cavendish outlines the proceedings of the witches' Sabbath. Commencing with the witches paying homage to the devil. The witches would light a fire whilst the devil was seated upon a throne in the form of either a goat, representing Satan himself, or a dog, which may have been connected with the dark goddess, the dog being one of the sacred animals of Hecate, rather than with Satan himself. The witches would then approach and adore the devil, though their approach would be in a manner foreign to normal men, such as walking crab-like or with their backs turned to him. After this came the offering of the candles to the devil and the obscene kiss. 7. Where the witch kisses the devil's behind. Following the obscene kiss, initiation, baptism or marriage would occur, followed by the feast and the orgy which concluded the witches' Sabbath. The inclusion of a feast and an orgy at the end of the witches' Sabbath is very much reminiscent of the Bacchanalia that existed during the times of the Roman Empire. The Bacchanalia was originally a secret sorority that eventually initiated men into its cult. Its members, who were said to indulge licentiously in their passions, were also alleged to have been responsible for a number of deaths, performed in secret caves, and defilements of its male members who refused to take the oath of the cult or to commit specific vices. When the cult was finally repressed by the authorities, there was estimated to be some 7,000 men and women who were members, many of whom were arrested and imprisoned.